When I told Kathy my idea for this week's episode of Mark Orwoll is at it again, she looked at me straight-facedly and said, "You have way too much time on your hands." You want to know why she said that? Stick around. Come right back here.
The swing begins. Mark Orwoll is at it again, and that cat is swinging. Yeah, that cat is swinging. The party don't stop when
I read that Oceania Cruises would debut its cutting-edge ship Luna in 2027, I thought, didn't kindly old Doc Fallopian just prescribe me some of that for my tendency to fall asleep during boring conversations? But when I checked the medicine bottle, I realized my mistake. Dr. F had actually prescribed me Concerta, which of course would also make an excellent name for a cruise ship. I went on LinkedIn the other day to see if I could find the employment history of marketing professionals. You know, those people who might have developed the names of the cruise ship or the medicine. So I wanted to find somebody who'd worked at both a drug manufacturer and a cruise line. But they were one step ahead of me and seemingly had removed their LinkedIn profiles just to prevent a serious journalistic investigation. Marketing people are a sly bunch, as it turns out. But Big Pharma, on the other hand, is unexpectedly forthcoming about the name game. This is how Pfizer explains the way the naming conventions work. We get a couple of quarts of Jim Beam and a tape recorder, and eventually we come up with something usable. Not really. They prefer wild turkey over there at Pfizer. But just to avoid getting sued, I'm going to quote Pfizer's website about what they allege to be the actual step-by-step naming process. We look for syllables that obviously are different from other existing generic names and that are pleasant enough in their tonality or appearance so it doesn't become overly complex to try to pronounce the generic name. It's too bad they don't put the same effort into avoiding confusion between generic drug names and cruise ship names. That's why my elderly Aunt Hattie got a prescription for the antihistamine Vistaril, and before she could get to her local CVS, she had accidentally booked a 2-week Black Sea voyage on the Oceania Vista. You think it's easy to tell the difference between drug and ship names? Okay, smarty pants. I've come up with a nifty little quiz just for know-it-alls. There's just one rule: no cheating. Settle into your deck chair on the SS Lomotil, take your daily dose of Encore, and give us your best guess. Is it a ship or a prescription drug? And be sure to keep score. Aubagio. Drug. It's a drug to treat certain types of multiple sclerosis. Adonia. Ship. The Adonia was formerly with P&O Cruises and now sails as the Azamara Pursuit. Allegra. It's a ship and a drug. The drug is to treat hay fever. Artania. Artania is a ship. Formerly the Royal Princess, it's now part of the German-based Phoenix Reisen. Cardura. Drug for high blood pressure, which you may need before you can finish this quiz. Coronia. Ship. The Coronia was a ship with Cunard and one of the first passenger ships in the 1950s to offer round-the-world cruises. How you doing so far? Not so hot, huh? All right, here's another one. Celebration. Yeah, that was easy. Celebration is a ship, the second in Carnival's Excel class of liners. Celebrex. Drug. It's an anti-inflammatory. Ecstasy. Ship. No, not that kind of drug. Ecstasy was a ship under the Carnival brand, christened by the perpetually perky Kathy Lee Gifford in 1991, then beached for scrapping in Turkey in 2022. Elation. Ship. It's a ship with the Carnival line, currently sailing the less than adventurous Jacksonville to Bahamas circuit. Meridia. Drug. Meridia is used to treat obesity, or it was at least, until it was withdrawn from the U.S. market in 2010. It also sounds suspiciously close to the MSC Cruises Meraviglia cruise ship. Millennium. Ship. Owned by Celebrity Cruises, the Millennium, in its original restaurant, the Olympic, it featured walnut wall panels taken from a sister ship of the Titanic, which is actually a dubious distinction in design choice, if you ask me. Sensation. Ship. Carnival took the Sensation and, like its sister ship, Ecstasy, beached it in Turkey for scrapping. Singulaire. Drug. It's used to prevent asthma attacks. Sonata. Drug for insomnia, which you probably don't need if you regularly read Mark Orwoll is at it again. Summit. Ship. The Summit is a ship with Celebrity Cruises that famously arrived at its Seward, Alaska home port bearing a dead 30-foot humpback whale draped across its bow. Risperdal. Drug. It's used to treat schizophrenia. Ultram. Again, a drug. Ultram is used to treat pain. Zondam. Ship. It's a ship with the Holland America line. It displays guitars signed by Eric Clapton and Iggy Pop, the latter of whom doesn't actually even play guitar, as well as a Baroque-style pipe organ. And if you can name one other cruise ship boasting a Baroque-style pipe organ, you automatically come in first place in this quiz. Next one. Zabetta. Drug. Zabetta is used to treat hypertension and to block your betas. Zegalog. Drug. Zegalog is used to treat low blood sugar, despite sounding like a Socratic discussion method to reach the ultimate truth. And lastly, Orgasm of the Seas. Nah, it's nothing. It's just a name I made up, but it would actually work well for a pill to take while you're on a cruise. Woo-hoo! Now give yourself 1 point for each correct answer. Double points if you got both the ship and the drug on question number 3, Allegra. Here's how the scoring works. If you got between 18 and 21, cheater. You got between 14 and 17, you're either a Harvard-trained MD or you hold a Master Mariner license issued by the United States Coast Guard. From 10 to 13, you're a drug-taking cruise ship passenger, which makes for a pretty crowded boat. 6 to 9, not too shabby. I say this because I scored a 6 and I wrote the darn quiz. 5 or less, loser. You have a marketing degree and simply can't tell the difference between drug and ship names. Well, I'm Mark Orwoll, at it again. Thanks for stopping by. See you next week. Mwah!
Let the swing be